Namaste. We are going to continue with chapter 4 of the Chandi Path. So as you can see as we go through this, exactly what this path is about stilling thought. And these are, all of the things that she is using are the things that we use to, again, cut through thought, to go beyond, and to get to that last great keeper of duality, which is ego, how to go beyond that. So I hope you are enjoying this. So let's continue forward to the rest of the Chandi Path. This is chapter 4. We meditate on she who is constantly served by all men desiring the ultimate perfection, who is surrounded on all sides by the gods, the goddess who removes difficulties, who is named Jaya, victory. Her beautiful body is splendidly dark like a black cloud. With her side looks, she instills fear into multitudes of enemies. A digit of the moon has fastened upon her head where it shines, and in her hand she holds a conch, a discus, small sword or scimitar, and trident. She has 3 eyes. She stands leaning upon the shoulders of a lion, and her radiant illumination has completely filled the 3 worlds. After the death of that excessively forceful and evil thought, the great ego, and the destruction of his army of perturbations by the hand of the divine goddess, the rule of the pure, along with all the other divine ones, with their heads bowed in reverence, began to sing a hymn of praise to the Supreme Empress. Their beautiful bodies were filled with excessive delight and pleasurable excitement. Her intrinsic nature is the aggregate of the energy of all the gods. With her energy, she pervades the entire universe. She is the most highly regarded by all the gods and seers of sacred wisdom. To the Mother of the universe, the greatest intensity of devotion, we give reverence unto her. May she grant us all welfare. Whose incomparable greatness and strength, the Lord of the universe, who creates, preserves, and dissolves the creation, is incapable to extol. May that Supreme Empress, she who tears apart thought, think to protect the entire gross world and destroy fear and impurity. She is the goddess of true wealth in the homes of virtuous souls and the misery of those who perform evil. She is intelligence in the hearts of the pure-minded, faith to the truthful, and humility to the truly noble. To that divine goddess we bow in reverence. Please protect the entire universe. How can we describe your inconceivable form or your uncanny behavior displayed in the battle between all the gods and thoughts? How you valiantly slew the thoughts and the other evil ones. In the origin of all perceivable existence, you are the cause. Within, you are the 3 qualities of nature, conception, activity, and rest. These 3 exist in you, but you have no connection with any of their defects. You are beyond the conception of the Supreme Consciousness and the great God and other gods. You are the support of all. The entire perceivable universe is only a portion of your being because you are the imperceptible, primordial being, supreme nature. O divine goddess, in all sacrifices you are the word Swaha. I am one with God, by whose pronunciation all gods win contentment. Moreover, you are performed by all people as oblations of ancestral praise. Svaha, the cause of satisfaction to the ancestors. O Goddess, for those who seek realization, the inculcation of absolute freedom. Inconceivable are the great austerities to be performed, to be devoid of all defects. Having the senses subdued, complying with the essence of the principles of truth, O Supreme Empress, the wise who practice yearning for liberation, that ultimate knowledge of realization is you. You are the intrinsic nature of sound, and exceedingly pure as the Rig Veda, the Yajurveda, and the Samaveda, with the special mode of pronunciation of songs in praise of the divine. You are the foundation, you are the three Vedas and the Supreme Empress. The generation and protection of the universe is the activity you manifest. You are the destroyer of fear and torment in the entire perceivable universe. O Goddess, you are the energy of intelligence by which the essence of all scriptures is understood. As the goddess who relieves afflictions, you are the boat that takes aspirants across the difficult sea of worldly thoughts, unbound by attachment. You manifest as the goddess of wealth in the heart of consciousness to do battle with the desires of want, and as the goddess of light to Lord Shiva, who wears the moon as a diadem. He commanded him, explain all this to her with sweet words, so being pleased she will quickly come. Then the ambassador went. Oops. Well, I don't know what happened. Sorry about that. This went to like 2 chapters ahead. Okay, here we go. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. It went like a couple of chapters ahead all of a sudden. I'm like, where do we go? And this part of it, you know, again, we are in this extolling the virtues. You know, the most important of these texts is further forward, where it talks about where we get more into the battle again. Okay, but let's go through this anyway. By your grace, O Goddess, the meritorious souls perform every day all the actions of spiritual discipline and righteous conduct with the greatest of faith and devotion, and thereby attain to heavenly perception. Are you not therefore the granter of all fruit in the 3 worlds? O reliever of difficulties, remembering you, the fear of all living beings is dispelled. When remembered by those individuals in the harmony of spiritual growth, you increase their welfare and intelligence. Who is like you, O dispeller of poverty, pain, and fear, whose sympathetic demeanor always extends compassion and assistance to everyone? The entire cosmos is pleased by the destruction of this enmity And even though these ill-advised beings committed sins sufficient to warrant an infinite suffering in hell, nevertheless let them attain to the realms of heaven by meeting their demise in the battle with me. Thinking thus, O goddess, certainly you destroy all enmity. Why is it that your one glance does not reduce all thoughts to ashes, so that being purified by the weapons these thoughts may be raised to higher worlds? You are so benevolent that you think for the welfare even of your enemies. If your sword's light and the foremost dazzling radiance from your pike did not blind the eyes of the thoughts, the reason was that they also saw the rays of light like glow in the moon, the giver of bliss, perceiving the vision of your beautiful face. O goddess, your inclination is to eradicate the faulty conduct of the wicked. With the vision of your form, no other concept may be contemplated, as no other similar exists. Hence, your strength and prowess in slaying these thoughts, who were destroying the power of the gods. Thus you manifest your compassion to the enemies. O goddess, granter of wishes, with what can your valor be compared? You give fear to enemies with your excessive beauty. Where is form beyond your own, kindness in the heart, and severity in battle? In all three worlds these can only be seen in you. In slaying these enemies you have protected the entire three worlds. By dying on the battlefield these enemies have arrived in heaven, and you have dispelled all our fears of thoughts. We bow to you. O goddess, protect us with your spear. Mother of the universe, protect us with your sword. Protect us with the sound of your bell, and protect us with the twang of your bowstring. Protect us in the east, protect us in the west. O you who tear apart thought, protect us in the south, then you rotate your spear and protect us in the north. In the three worlds there are forms of your exquisite beauty, and others exceedingly frightful are conceived. With all of them protect us and protect the world. O Mother of the universe, protect us everywhere and every time with your sword, your spear, your club. Protect us on every side with every weapon that is in your lovely hands. Thus the gods sang praise to the creator of the perceivable universe and worshipped her with flowers and perfume and other items of the garden of delight. When all united in the fullest heaven, devotion, and offered incense, fragrance, and food, then they all bowed to the goddess in obeisance, and in serene countenance she spoke to them. The goddess said, I will grant you the fulfillment of your desire. And the gods said, the Supreme Empress has fulfilled our every desire, and there is nothing that remains undone. Our enemy, the great ego, has been slain, O great seer of all. Beyond that you desire to grant us a boon. Then whenever we will remember you, and there you will give us intuitive vision and remove our great distress. And, O Mother of the universe, whatever humans praise you with these verses, may you increase their knowledge and prosperity and greatness, as well as other processions in life. O Mother, always be pleased with us and grant us welfare and prosperity. And the Risi said, O King, when the gods prayed for welfare of themselves and the world, the Excellent One beyond time was pleased, and saying, let it be so, and vanished from sight. Your Highness, I have told you the story of how in times of old the goddess who desires the welfare of the three worlds was manifested from the bodies of the gods. And now, O virtuous soul, in like manner I shall narrate to you of her appearance from the body of the goddess of light, the slayer of the vicious thoughts, self-conceit, and self-deprecation, and the giver of assistance to the gods in order to protect all the worlds. Please listen to this entire episode being narrated by me. So this is the application, chapter 5. Om preceding the concluding episode, the reliever from suffering is the seer. The great goddess of all-pervading knowledge is the deity. Anstup, 32 syllables to the verse, is the meter. Bhima is the energy. Brahmari is the seed. Sun is the principle. Samaveda is the intrinsic nature. And for the satisfaction of the great goddess of all-pervading knowledge, this last episode is being applied in recitation. So here is the meditation. Bearing in her lotus hands the bell of continuous tone, the pike of concentration, the plow sowing the seeds of the way of truth, to wisdom, the conch of vibrations, the pestle of refinement, the discus of revolving time, and the bow of determination, the arrow of speech whose radiance is like the moon in autumn, whose appearance is most beautiful, who is manifested from the body of she who rays of light and the support of the three worlds, that great goddess of all-pervading knowledge, who destroyed self-conceit and other thoughts, I worship. In olden days there were two thoughts, self-conceit and self-deprecation, who with the abundance of their excessive self-conceit robbed the rule of the pure and the husband of the power that rules and master of the three worlds a portion of sacrifice. Those who assumed the dominions of light, of wisdom and devotion, the Lord of wealth, the power of control, and the Lord of equilibrium, and made them subservient. The effects of emancipation and the light of meditation were also removed. These two defeated the gods, assumed their authority, and spoiled the kingdom, and with disrespect all the gods were put out of heaven. Having thus been insulted by the two great thoughts, the gods remembered the invincible goddess and thought of the boon of the Mother of Universe gave to them. In any time of adversity you remember me, then there I will eradicate your every distress. Thinking thus, the gods went to the king of the mountains, the Himalayas, and there began to extol the goddess, the supreme Lord, the great measurement of the consciousness that pervades all. We bow to the goddess, the great goddess, to the energy of the infinite goodness. At all times we bow. We bow to nature, to the excellent one. With discipline we have bowed down. To the reliever of sufferings we bow, to the eternal, to the embodiment of the rays of light, to the creatress, to she who manifests light, to the form of devotion, to happiness continually we bow. To the welfare of those who bow, we bow. To change, to perfection, to dissolution, to the wealth that sustains the earth, to the wife of consciousness, to you we bow. We bow. To she who removes difficulties, to she who removes beyond all difficulties, to the essence, to the cause of all, to perception, and to the doer of all, to the unknowable one. Continually we bow. To the extremely beautiful and extremely fierce we bow to her. we bow, we bow. We bow to the establisher of the perceivable universe, to the goddess. To all action we bow, we bow. To the divine goddess in all existence, who is addressed as the perceivable form of consciousness that pervades all, we bow to her. We bow to her continually, we bow, we bow. To the divine goddess in all existence, who resides all throughout the consciousness and is known by the reflections of mind, we bow to her, we bow to her. We continually bow, we bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all of existence in the form of intelligence, we bow to her, we continually bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all of existence in the form of sleep, we bow to her, we continually bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all existence in the form of hunger, we bow to her, we continually bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all existence in the form of appearance, we bow to her, we continually bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all of existence in the form of energy, we bow to her, we continually bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all existence in the form of desire, we bow to her. To the divine goddess who resides in all of existence in the form of patient forgiveness, we bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all of existence in the form of all living beings, we bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all of existence in the form of humility, we bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all of existence in the form of peace, we bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all of existence in the form of faith, we bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all of existence in the form of beauty enhanced by love, we bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all of existence in the form of true wealth, we bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all of existence in the form of activity, we bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all of existence in the form of recollection, we bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all of existence in the form of compassion, we bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all of existence in the form of satisfaction, we bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all of existence in the form of mother, we bow. To the divine goddess who resides in all of existence in the form of confusion, we bow. Presiding over the senses of all beings and pervading all existence, to the omnipresent goddess who individualizes creation, we bow. In the form of consciousness, she distinguishes the individual phenomena of the perceivable universe, we bow. In days of old, all of the gods, led by Indra, the rule of the pure, sang these verses of praise for the purpose of accomplishing their desired objective of surrendering the ego in the light of wisdom. And for many days that service was rendered. May she, the seer of all, the Lord of all, the source of all good, perform similarly for us all auspicious things by putting an end to all distress. We gods have been harassed by the arrogant thoughts in the manner of humans. And at this time, all of us gods bow to the seer of all, who, when bowed to with devotion and remembered in a physical image, immediately terminates our every adversity. Your Highness, just as the gods were singing that hymn of praise, the goddess of nature came there to bathe in the Ganges. That supreme empress with beautiful eyebrows asked the gods, whose praise is being sung here? Then from within herself an auspicious form manifested and said, self-conceit and self-deprecation, two terrible thoughts, have defeated the gods and insulted them, and so all the gods have collected here and are singing my praise. And as the Mother of the universe emerged from within the goddess of nature, she is known in all the worlds as she who comes from within. After the manifestation of she who comes from within, the body of nature became dark, and consequently became a goddess who dwells in the Himalayas, distinguished as the remover of darkness. Thereafter, two servants of self-conceit and self-deprecation, named Passion and Anger, came and saw the extremely beautiful form worn by the Mother of the universe. Then self-conceit was told by them, O great king, there is an excessively beautiful woman whose heavenly beauty is illuminated the Himalayas. Such an excellent form no one has ever before beheld. O Lord of Thought, please find out who that goddess is and take her. Of all women, she's a jewel. Every limb is beautiful, and the radiant splendor of her body is illuminating all the directions. She is present there. You should see her. Lord of the three worlds, jewels, gems, elephants, horses, the best all shine in your house. Of elephants you have the jewel, love for all, taken from the rule of the pure. Of trees, the tree of life. Of horses, the horse of wisdom. The most wonderful carrier, yoked to the swans of union through the control of breath, which before was with the Lord of creation, now has been brought here and shines in your courtyard, the jewel of its kind. Of all the 9 treasures, the Lord of wealth, you have taken the great lotus of peace, and the ocean has given you a garland of fine lotuses that never lose their luster. The umbrella of the Lord of equilibrium, which causes gold to flow, stands in your house, and also the chosen chariot that belonged to the Creator of beings. From death you have taken the supreme energy known as moving beyond, and your brother has taken possession of the shining net of the Lord of fluctuation. And of all the beings born of the sea, self-deprecation has taken the most excellent jewels. The divine fire himself purified 2 garments and presented them to you. And so, O Lord of Thought, all of the jewels you have taken the best and most excellent, and of all the women the finest jewel is the goddess of welfare. Why don't you just bring her to your house? And after hearing the words of passion and anger, self-conceit sent he who appears to be a friend, a great thought, as an ambassador to the goddess. I love that one. He who appears to be a friend. The snake, the wolf in sheep's clothing, taking that thought forward. And he commanded him, explain all this to her with sweet words, so that being pleased she will quickly come. O wolf in sheep's clothing. So let's see what are those sweet words that he wants to try to entrap her with. What net is he throwing? What is it that he is going to try to entrap her with? Then as the ambassador went to that very beautiful area in the mountains where the goddess was seated and spoke in tender honey-like words, O goddess, The king of thought, self-conceit, is the Lord of the three worlds. I have been sent as his ambassador to come to you. Why does this remind me of someone? Gee, I don't know. Sitting on the golden throne with the words. But let's continue forward and see where this goes. All of the gods have been defeated by him and all obey his commands. No one can violate his order. Listen to the message he sends to you. He's so all-powerful. Okay. The entire three worlds are under my authority, and all the gods obey my every command. I personally enjoy the share of every sacrifice. All the finest jewels in the three worlds are under my authority, and I have taken the jewel of elephants, the carrier of the god, of the rule, of the pure, and the jewel of horses, and the horse of wisdom, which was produced from the beginning of creation, and the gods have surrendered all at my feet. O beautiful one! Beyond that, as many beautiful jewels that have belonged to the gods or to the heavenly beings or the swiftly proceeding, they all shine in front of me. O goddess, we consider you to be the jewel of all women in the creation. Therefore, you come to us because we are the enjoyer of all jewels. You of inconsistent gaze, come and serve me and my extremely valiant brother, self-deprecation, because you are the very essence of jewels. By fulfilling my wish, you will achieve great glory. Now use your intelligence to decide if you want to be my wife. Then the goddess, the excellent supreme empress, she who removes difficulties thoughtfully, tranquilly, gently smiling, gave her reply. All that you have said is true, without a particle of falsehood. Self-conceit is the master of the three worlds, as equally the valiant self-deprecation. But in this matter, because of my small intelligence, I have already undertaken an oath to which I cannot be untrue. Please listen. Whoever will defeat me in battle, whoever will lose his self-conceit in me, whoever will see all the force of the universe in me, he will be my husband. So you return to self-conceit and self-deprecation, great thoughts. When they conquer me, I will marry. So what's the necessity of delay? Well, goddess, your pride's very great to speak to me like that. In the three worlds, there's not a man who can stand against self-conceit and self-deprecation. Goddess, all the gods cannot challenge the thoughts in battle. What merit have you, as you're alone and a woman? If the rule of pure and all the other gods could not stand up to self-conceit in battle, how will you, a woman, go forth in battle? Therefore, go to self-conceit and self-deprecation because of what I have said. In this way, you'll protect your dignity. Otherwise, you'll be grabbed by the hair and dragged, or you will lose your honor. And the goddess said, what you say is correct. Self-conceit is very strong, and self-deprecation is a valiant warrior. But what can I do? Without thinking, I have made this promise. Now you go. and, as I have told you, explain fully to the king of thought, and then let him do what he thinks is proper. Om. Chapter 6. I think of the ultimate goddess Padmavati, who resides in the eyes of the Lord of all wisdom, Bhairav. Her tender body is effulgent with the brilliance of the multitude of jewels on the hoods of the king of snakes upon whom she is reclining. Her luster is like that of the sun, and her 3 eyes are brilliant. In her hands she holds a rosary, a gourd, a skull, and a lotus. And the radiant half-moon is the shining crown of her head. After listening to the words of the goddess, the ambassador became very angry, and returning to the king of thought gave a detailed explanation. Hearing the report of the ambassador, the king of thought became indignant, and in great anger he called a thought named Sinful Eyes. Hey, Sinful Eyes, go quickly, take your army, and grabbing that naughty one by the hair, drag her here. And if anyone stands up to defend her, be he God, semi-divine being, or a celestial being, surely and certainly you will kill him. And the rishi said, receiving the command from self-conceit, Sinful Eyes, along with an army of 60,000 thoughts, immediately proceeded. Arriving there, he saw the goddess seated upon the Himalayas and definitely shouted, Enemy, go to self-conceit and self-deprecation. If you won't go lovingly to the side of my master right now, I will grab you by the hair and forcibly drag you there. And the goddess said, You've been sent by the king of thought, and you yourself are extremely mighty. Along with you is a great army. In this condition, if you take me by force, then what can I do? And the rishi said, after the goddess answered thus, that thought Sinful Eyes attacked, and with pronunciation of the mantra Hum, the mother of the universe, reduced him to ashes. Then in great anger, that immense army of thoughts and the mother of the universe began to exchange a rain of arrows and energies and battle axes. In all of this, the carrier of the goddess, the lion, shaking his mane in excessive rage, in a frightful roar, jumped into the army of thoughts. Some thoughts died from the striking of his paws, others from his jaws. Still other great thoughts were trampled by his hind legs and died from their wounds. Striking with his claws, he struck so many in the stomach, and by the sword so many heads he severed. Shaking his mane, the lion cut so many arms and heads. Striking the stomachs of some thoughts, the lion caused their blood to flow. Excessively angry, the carrier of the goddess, that extremely forceful lion, in but a moment annihilated that entire army of thoughts. When the king of thought heard that the goddess killed Sinful Eyes, and that her lion eradicated the entire army, he became very angry, and his lower lip trembled with rage, and he gave a command to passion and to anger. Hey, passion, hey, anger! Take a great army and grab that goddess by the hair, and binding her quickly bring her here. And if there's any doubt in bringing her here, then fight with all your weapons an entire army of thoughts and wound her. And after wounding that naughty one and her lion, bind that mother of the universe and return with her quickly. So we will end this here. Namaste. And we will go on in a moment to chapter 7.